So, in their recent state of play, Sony revealed that Nioh 3 is in the works, and on that same day, they shadow dropped the Nioh 3 demo. And so, I was able to check that out, and I was able to complete it. And so, this video is going to just give my brief 2 cents on what I think about it. So, some background: I love Nioh, love Soulborn, and I was able to platinum Nioh 1 way back when, and I was also able to platinum Nioh 2 when it came out, and so I platinum both of them. And so I think I have a very good understanding of what makes these games so awesome as they are, because I love them to that much that I went and platinum them. And so we're going to look at some pros and cons for the new game that is coming out, Nioh 3. So let's start with some of the, well, it's going to be both mixing up the pros and cons, right? I'll be mixing up the pros and cons. And so one of the big things with this game is the fact that now you basically you're playing two builds at the same time, two characters at the same time. In a sense, it's the same person but two builds. You're playing as a samurai and you're playing as a ninja. So that's one of the biggest changes from the previous Niohs. And even with Nioh 2, where you had the yokai, where you played as a yokai at some point, they had the yokai shift and those kind of things. This time around, you are playing as two builds, so you have to focus on two things. Now for me, in playing the demo, there's a kind of hit and a miss with this new approach, in the sense that, okay, I understand they are trying to change up things a bit, but it kind of gives you more work than you need to really have, right? It's giving you more work than is really necessary, meaning that sometimes you go and try to outfit your character. And so you have to outfit your ninja side and you have to outfit your samurai side. And so because sometimes in active play, you have to change between both of them. And you don't want it to be a case where when you shift from one to the next, the other one has weaker stats, weaker equipment, that kind of thing. So you have to keep those two things in mind. So you're basically running two builds at the same time, simultaneously. And so that can be a little tricky to get used to also. Instead of doing the yokai burst or the parry system, you have to shift to the next character when there's a red attack, right? And so that again can create some problems because there's a whole extra button you have to press now, right? Or extra button you have to press. And then sometimes you might have a strong build, as I said, you might have a strong build in one versus the other. And so when you shift to the weaker one, you might not be doing as much damage as you want to do. Sometimes you want to use a katana, and when the enemy is down, you give them that, what should I say, down attack, the visceral attack, the strong attack, right? When they're out of key and whatnot. And then somebody might find that, oh wait, I'm in the ninja form. And sometimes the ninja is not as powerful as the samurai form. And so you're not doing as much damage. Sometimes when you shift, when you do the live, when you shift to your guardian spirit, you might be in the ninja form or the samurai form, depends on which one you put all your strengths and whatnot in. If you don't have them balanced, it can be problematic. So you have to keep that in your mind, that when you shift, you might be as the ninja, and then the sword is not the kusagama or whatever it might be used, the talent, whatever it might be used, it might not be as strong as the odachi or the katana or the spear that you're using as a samurai, and that might throw you off, right? So that's a problem for me in terms of this new approach with the two different builds at the same time. I came from, of course, Nioh 1 and 2, as I said before, and so I'm really used to that samurai build. And what I enjoyed back then is that some of the advantages you have with the ninja build, you had them in the samurai build. Like, for example, if you want to use dual swords, dual katanas, for those fast-moving attacks, those fast-moving slashes, you can do that. Right now, the ninja is the only one that can use ninjutsu. And so in previous times, you would equip your talisman or whatever else ninjutsu you want in the one build. And then you put them in the shortcuts as you see fit. So now we have to switch to the ninja to be able to use certain types of ninjutsu. Well, that's what I experienced from the demo so far. And for me, that's extra work, extra time, that kind of thing. I prefer to have my one build, get my loadouts when I gonna face a certain battle. Put in the water orb or the fire orb, the lightning, whichever one you might want to. Your big bombs, whatever you might want to. But put that in your build. Have them on the shortcut. So you don't have to click an extra button to get to where you need to go to. So even though that's the main premise of the game, I find it's not really innovating how I think it should, and it is kind of, for me, unnecessary, because in prior games you were able to do the same thing with less button clicks and with less brain power and that kind of stuff, right? So that's just one of the downsides for me. Of course, flying enemies in this game still very much annoying. The samurai can't really deal with them as well as others. The ninja a little faster, but flying enemies very, very annoying, and so don't really want to deal with that. Alright, the parry system in the game, I don't know, it's kind of, I guess every game needs a parry mechanic now, but for me the parry mechanic in this game isn't as visceral as, say, from Bloodborne. Or even from recent Clear Obscure Expedition 33, when you parry effectively you can feel like I did something. You get that feedback, that visceral effect. So you're either in Clear Obscure, where you're able to parry successfully, you're able to counter attack in a stylish manner. In Bloodborne, you parry effectively, you're able to do that visceral attack, and you hear the music, you feel it. But right now in Nioh 3, the parry system is there. It's not really something that you feel. You don't really feel when you do that nice parry to go along with it. Of course, one of the problems they've had with Nioh for days since the initial one is loot. Loot for days. Like, loot can't done, a lot of loot. And so what with all this loot and everything, what happens now is that Nioh becomes a reading exercise, right? It becomes an encyclopedia. You have to go through page by page to say, okay, this weapon adds that, more key damage, more strong damage, 5% this, 5% that. And so you have to read carefully to know, okay, I want to make sure I have the best of the best, as opposed to, okay, attack power, highest, I use, right? You might have a high attack power, but other things might be diminished, and based on the boss you're facing, that might be problematic. So with all of this loot constantly coming at you, you have 100 katanas at one point, 100 odachis, 100 bow and arrows. You have to keep reading and understanding exactly what this whole thing is about, exactly what you're doing. And so that can just bog down the whole experience, slow you down. And that is why, right, I preferred Nioh 1 in terms of just having one character, and that's it. You just maybe nice him up with a different armor or whatever, but for the most part, I enjoy the one character, as opposed to Nioh 2 and now 3, we have to make your own character and those kind of things. That's just another knock I have against it for me. I prefer the one character. But back to the loot again. Loot for days makes it very academic, and so sometimes you don't really want all of that. You want to go in, bada bing, bada boom, hit and go, right? That's why Sekiro was such a good game for me, because Sekiro did away with all of the extra weapons and that kind of thing. You got your katana and that's about it, right? You go, that's your main weapon, and you deal your damage with that, right? You strengthen it to get better, your skills get better, and you go with that. So I enjoy that about Sekiro, with that, they give you the sword and you work with it, as opposed to a whole lot of loot. Where Sekiro varied is with the different attachments, right? The attachments to your arm, the umbrella, the confetti, all these other things. So they were able to do that. But Nioh have, just like Borderlands, loot for days. And that's downside. Well, not a downside, but something that I saw interesting was that, I just saw in the earlier cutscene, we have some returning characters, right? I see Honda making a comeback again. So it's like, okay, we're telling a similar story all over again. But, small nitpick, but they're using over the same thing. Alright, some of the, what should I say, the pros now, the good part I enjoy about this one. Happy that the yokai realms has seemingly been relegated to just in the boss phases. Because, in Nioh 2, sometimes you're going through a village, and you have a whole, you see the haze, the dark haze, and you know, that's a yokai realm right there, and you have to go and explore, you have to go and make your way through it to get to that shrine for that area. And something was very annoying, because sometimes you have a yokai you can't even beat, you reach so close to the shrine to unlock it, and they kill you, and you have to do it all over again. So I never really liked those. If I could have avoided them, I would have. In Nioh 2, we have those yokai realms that we go through them, and I never really liked that. So I'm glad, based on the demo, that it's been minimized just like that. So overall, the emphasis on yokai seems to have been lessened, have been diminished in Nioh 3, which I'm glad for, because the whole yokai dynamic made it a little bit more involved. It made the game a little bit more, you know, should I say, it was just too much. It was a lot happening at the same time. So, and you had to keep all those mechanics in mind. The different, you had to deal with the yokai, deal with non-yokai, deal with a lot of things at the same time. The cores, the this, the that. You had to do with all of those things. So it was kind of cumbersome in Nioh 2, right? As opposed to Nioh 1, which was a little clean. This one was, Nioh 2 was a little cumbersome. So I'm glad that the emphasis on yokai kind of has been diminished based on what the demo is saying. And X Plus, of course, the mini-map now looks a lot better in terms of, it helps, it really helps. The minimap can show you, not the minimap alone, but the map in general can show you, you know, if I missed Kodama somewhere, if I missed a treasure somewhere, if I missed a chest, they put it on the map so you can see where you missed. They indicate whether you have explored this area, you know, maximum 25%, 50%, 75%, and if not, what you were missing. You know, you might miss a samurai locker, ninja locker, something. They would show you that, you know, when you open the map, they show you what you're missing. So you're not going to be really, they're not holding your hand because you still have to find them, but they're just telling you, okay, they are there, you need to go and find them, get them, because they are out there. So I am happy that the map is more helpful. And sometimes when a shrine is close by, it can indicate where it is. You may be grayed out, darked out, to show, okay, you can't access it yet, but it's in the area. So I'm really happy that they were able to put that in and give the map a little bit more utility. Right? It's a lot better now, and so I really enjoy that. So again, it helps with exploration because they want to promote exploration based on what the demo is saying, because they give you props for exploring the map fully. Sometimes you get perks for exploring, like for example, if you explore level 1, level 2, you might get increased damage because you explored the map a lot more thoroughly. So they're emphasizing, they're incentivizing you to be an explorer, right? Find more things, get stronger out there. They also have things like bandit camps and those kind of things. So you have to defeat X amount of enemies in the camps to basically conquer the camp, like other open world games, right? So you're able to conquer these camps, and that's a good thing. Give you extra things to do out there. And then similar to Ghost of Ghost of Tsushima, where they had the foxes and you can follow them and get treasures. Here you have the little cat yokais where you can follow them and they will lead you to some sort of treasure. So I guess that's a new plus right there. They have a new shrine system that they introduced. Not just the Kodama blessing, but they have a next blessing. I think it's Jinzo blessing, I think it is, where if you find these shrines, you're able to get strength and blessings when you go into the Crucible. So that's the next new thing in the game. You know, where the Nioh 2 had the demon realm, they have the Crucible now, where it is basically infected by yokai and the kind of things. It's very similar to the demon realm, the yokai realm, but still it is not as claustrophobic, and it's not as though if you lose, you know, all ends with it, right? You have to start from scratch. No, right? It's kind of similar, but still a little more manageable than what they had before. And you can see from a mile away, and you have to clear out that to get, you know, the area back to where it needs to be. It's a whole different, basically a different mission for you. So not bad at all with that. They add into the overall game. Of course, the enemy variety, right? It's been top notch. The enemy variety is deep in Nioh 3. Based on the little demo I've played, I came across a number of enemies, which is a good thing, as opposed to, you know, the same old in other games. This one is very deep, and each enemy you might have to approach differently. Some of them, as I said before, very annoying, right? Got these little scampering looking things, demons with that sends out sound projectiles. Very annoying. They're aggressive, and they're very annoying. So when you end up in an area where you have different types of enemies coming at you at the same time, it becomes very difficult. And so of course you have to try to do a little stealth, the promoting stealth, and so you're able to, you know, duck down in the tall grass, take out some of the enemies before you're overwhelmed, right? And so they also have a lot of jump scares in a sense. You're going through an area and one just jump out at you, you know, out the water, wherever. So, you know, sometimes they will drop down from the ceiling, the little blobby ones then. But yeah, they have a couple of that, and not bad, but the enemy variety is welcome. And of course, what they are known for, Team Ninja, combat. Combat for me right now is the feel is hit and miss. It's more hit than miss though. When it comes to combat, it's as tight as ever, but sometimes the parry and the blocking is kind of not as responsive as you want it to be. You know, in some of those games, like for example, Ninja Gaiden, right? When you hit block one time, you're blocked. No hit, no damage come through. But for this one, sometimes there's a little lag, right? Sometimes you time in the attack, boom, and then when it's supposed to hit and you hit block, you're supposed to parry and whatever, but your attack comes through. So you feeling it. So I guess they have to tighten up on that to get that part of combat nice and tight, right? So that's something they can work on. The tightness of the blocking and the parrying is not where it needs to be. But at the end of the day, this is more Nioh. It is more Nioh. Now you can take that how you want it, right? With a grain of salt. You take it how you want it, right? Do it as you wish. But for me, right, more Nioh. I enjoy Nioh, but there was a point in time I was like, I don't want to do this right now. I don't want to, because it's a demo, and something when it's a demo, I don't want to put in my all. You know, when you spend the money, you want to get your money's worth. But I wasn't really. At first, I didn't want to finish the demo. I was like, I don't want to go through all this. But then I found myself playing and not putting it down. But still kind of samey. It's very, very samey for the most part. It's just more Nioh. And so for some people, it might be a little bit more Nioh fatigue. And for some, it might be, oh well, this is exactly what I wanted. But realizing that Nioh 1, Nioh 2 had tons of DLC. And so if you maximize all of those DLC, 1 and 2, finish all of them, get all the trophies, then this is just more Nioh. And I don't know if this is something that you might want, right? This might be a little too much, you know, at the same feel. Not much innovation in my opinion. Not much innovation. The little 1-2 things I mentioned, the core is still there and more. So there's not much innovation in terms of changing up the core mechanics and things like that, right? So take with that as you wish, and know that Nioh 3 is more Nioh, for good or for bad. And that's basically it for my little 2 cents on Nioh 3 based on the demo that was released. Alright, so cannot wait for it to come out next year. I think it's February 2026 it comes out. And I might buy it still and try platinum it just to complete the trilogy, right? But maybe not day one, I don't know yet. But like I said, if I'm in the mood, but you know, I still feel like I need to complete the trilogy. We'll see when the time comes, right? If it's $80, I am buying no game day one for $80. If it's $80, I am not buying it day one. Okay, much I love Nioh, I am not buying any games for $80. So if the comments say Nioh 3 is $80, I'll wait until the complete edition, or wait until it's on sale to get it. And you know, it's not gonna expire, right? It's not gonna go stale. It's gonna be there still. It's gonna be the same fun. I am not dropping $80 on any game at all, right? So that's just my point of view on that. Alright, so that's it for my little preview or my impressions of Nioh 3 based on the demo that they presented to us. Let me know what you think in the comment section. That's it for now.